Good morning. Welcome to Sales Chatter, the logistics podcast where we try to help 10,000 reps hit a million GP. I'm your co-host, Ryan Mohammed, the logistics monk, and I just feel like my hosts are changing daily, so this is pretty cool. I'm enjoying today. So without further ado, we have our amazing friend who's always been such a great help to us and always here to have great conversations. DJ Flores, welcome again. How you doing this morning, brother?
Good, man. What's up, everybody? Thank you for having me. I love doing this on Fridays. It's definitely a great way to. So thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. So you know what? Let's get the intro out of the way, and then let's get into it.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
There we go. I want to say good morning to Lisa. Always happy to see Lisa. Happy Freight is Fun Fridays, DJ. Happy Freight is Fun Fridays, and DJ definitely she's definitely happy
Yes.
to see you back on with us, my man. So you're coming at us from
Thank you,
Virginia Beach and
Lisa.
always willing to help out.
Always
What's
glad
your
to see
week?
the audience.
Yeah, Lisa always with that engagement. What's your week been like, man? It's been that week, that Easter week. Had that little bit of a long weekend. What's your week been looking like?
It's been a catch up, which I'm sure it is for everybody. Traveling back to from Ohio, spending time with the family was great. Got together for the weekend, so yeah, just it's coming back trying to catch up. It's been crazy for everybody out there is, but be easy on when you can with what you got and just keep going.
That's like a perfect like segue to like end the show, but we're just getting started today. So with that being said, we're gonna have some fun today.
Yeah.
This is what we're all about. Want to say good morning to everybody. I'll get right into it, man. I think we have some fun with here. And if you're new here, every Friday we kind of take it easy. Monday to Thursday we talk logistics. We give you guys those tips and everything like that. But we kind of figured out that we want to kind of ease the Friday. Like I know everybody will say, nobody stops working and all that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, like if we can uplift you guys and we want to see some crowd participation too. So DJ, first question for you, my man, to get this bad boy started. What is the number one quality
What do you?
you look for in a friend?
So I have Alex Ramosi. Complain that I did tweak it a little bit, but I do have what I really yesterday. I love seeing him with you on the show yesterday. So finding and being only your customers that you want to work with and who your avatar.
We got the. I know he's working on the internet. I know he's got definitely some nuggets here. So we'll wait to kind of see that what can happen. Some for me, I love to kind of hear what the audience. Number one quality I look for in a friend. I think. I think staying true to their word is the number one quality that I personally look for. If you are gonna say, "Hey, we should hang out," or "We should grab some coffee," or do something, yeah, it doesn't always have to be social. But if you're gonna do something and you've committed to it, I will hold you to that. And I believe in the mantra of never asking somebody twice to do something. That's one of the most important things that I think is like truly, and it's not to say that I have like this ego or anything like that. It's just like, and not wasting time or anything like that. I'm always willing to talk to people and make new friends. It's just that that's kind of like my two-prong thought process of like, is this person going to be an acquaintance, going to be a friend, going to be a part of my inner circle, just depending on what bucket I'm going to put them into. So yeah, even Lisa agrees here with us here as DJ is definitely fixed on the internet on his end. Yeah, it agrees. Following what you were say that you were going to do, and I think it's just like so important. I know that we can all get busy doing whatever we're doing daily, but if we just make a commitment to understand that we need to follow through with our commitments. If you make a commitment to your commitment, we're gonna go from there. But as DJ is kind of getting his internet all fixed up, we'll get that fixed up. No worries on that. But DJ, what do you kind of think on your thoughts? Yeah, I can't hear you, buddy. There we go. So he's getting that fixed out. It's not Fun Day Friday without the little bit of a technical gadgets kind of going on there. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So I think that's the number one quality for everybody else out there. What's a quality that you look for in a friend? I know that the next question we can segue into is, what do you look for in, I would say, a business partner or a partnership? So it can be work. We all work in logistics, whether it be a carrier, whether it be a shipper, or even if it's somebody that, hey, you're looking to date, if you're single and all that fun stuff from there. So you just gotta kind of figure out. For me, what I look for somebody in to do partnerships with, I think trustworthy is definitely one of them. Like we said, the ability to have those honor those commitments that you've kind of said too. But I think they've got to be a people person, somebody who wants to serve, somebody who wants to help, somebody who wants to just inspire people. And I think that's what's really, really, really cool. So, yeah, DJ's getting this all about before. We'd love to see in the comments what you guys are up to and what's going on with my week. It's been pretty cool. It's been awesome. And here we go, man. Here we go. We got to switch it up. Can you hear us now, brother?
I got you. I got you. Sorry about that, man. It's
No, do not apologize. So we'll kick it right back to you, my friend. Everything's going good. So back to it. What is the number one quality that you look for in a friend? And like you were mentioning, you took it from Alex Ramosi, but let's hear the spiel again.
Yeah. So I really have my top three, it's or my non-negotiables, as Alex likes to call it. And so unimpeccable character, sincere candor, and grand ambitions. I need somebody who dreams big, who is going to take criticism, because I criticize myself hard. So I know I can probably criticize others. And I gladly welcome criticism. I'd rather know where people stand than wonder. And then just an impeccable character is kind of just one of those things Alex threw out there that I loved.
I love that the second one that you just said, like being able to know where you stand and think about, like, there's so many times. I consider this kind of like when you're dating somebody. I know both of us are married and we're past these days, but I remember dating. It's like you had a first good date and you're like, oh my God, are they going to text? Should I text first? Should they text? What are they thinking? And you're listening to that thought, and just when you're kind of straight up and honest, and then you kind of let that kind of sit. I feel like it sits rent free in your head because you gave that time and that space from there. So I like what you said about impeccable character, because these are the people that you go into the trenches with, right? These are the people that, as I was talking about the three buckets, they're going to be acquaintance, a friend, or part of my inner circle. So for you, DJ,
yes, sir.
what is? Oh, this is a cool one. What's the best compliment that you've ever received?
The best compliment I've ever received. I mean, people are so nice. So I've gotten great compliments. But obviously I love, I've gotten the compliment of my smile from, for a long time, from my grandma even. So that's kind of a given, but I would say probably the biggest one for me that I appreciate, that I've was given recently from Maggie. So shout out Mags if you're watching this, but is being selfless. I really want to help others. I really do just want to help others. I really want nothing but happiness for me, and I have that as long as I'm in pursuit of helping others. so it's a win-win. And so yeah, just being selfless, I guess, was the greatest compliment for me.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I think that's a mantra that we kind of always kind of talk about, saying, being selfless, right? And it's just like, I think about just in life, like if somebody was to come over to me and say, like, hey, Ryan, I'm doing this, I think my first thought is like, do you need help? How can I help? Or anything like that way. And even if I might not be an expert in, I don't believe like anybody's like fully at the master level yet. But if I don't know how to do it, I always tell this to my customers, right? Like I always say that I might not be the best baker in Toronto, but I can find you the best baker in Toronto. I might not know how to do a deck in my
Yes.
backyard. I will find you the best contractor to do that.
I love that you said that. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, just be a resource. If you can't be the resource, be a resource.
Mm,
That's really like, yeah, if I don't have the answer, and I think that's, a line from one of my favorite movies, Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. He says that if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to lie, but I'll find the answer. And that's one thing you definitely, I mean, thank you. Shout out to you. I'll give you props. Just this morning, I sent him, give everybody a heads up. So next week have the podcast going out. And so I sent it to Ryan and a few other people, kind of the intro and this the kind of snippet of what we're going to be sharing. And he was quick to just, hey, do you need help? Do you want other graphics? And he was really willing to help. And so, dude, like that's huge. I mean, that means a lot. So thank you for that. And that's what I look for in friends.
yeah, of course, and we're definitely, and that's for just like anybody in general being able to kind of do that. And I think for me, the best compliment I kind of received was personable, and it's been something that I think it's been truly it's been a change, it's been a change for me because like I'm not the type of person that who's able to I always kind of smile through everything, right? And I'm not to say that I've had pain or anything like that. Like I think the only pain I've had is when my dog died in my arms, but that's another conversation for another
Mm,
story. But I
yeah,
think
yeah.
being personable and being able to have a conversation with anybody, I don't I mentioned this on the show yesterday, DJ, that I don't like the words extrovert and introvert. I don't want like being I don't like labels, I don't like labels. I just want to be a human first, and what kind of goes from there. So, next question for you. As good morning to Maggie. Yeah, she definitely is watching. She heard you. She heard you. Like if Maggie's watching, we're gonna start this off.
Hold on. I love that you said that. Repeat what you just said there, because that's huge. What you just said.
Which one?
What you just finished with.
Oh, that you. Shoot. I'm forgetting here. You put me on the spot on this one.
Sorry. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
you had touched on something about God. No, I just lost it because you brought up Maggie. I
Yeah, me
think we
too.
both
I'm
lost
like
it.
like that like
But,
squirrel.
but if I remember, I'll tell you. But you had nailed something that's so big. I wanted to go into. But
Yeah, it's awesome, man. We'll find it. It's like the Michael Scott thing. So when I start talking, I don't know where I'm gonna end, but I just hope I find it along the way.
it'll come back. It'll come back
Yeah.
if it's important. If it's important enough, it'll come back.
All right, let's hear this. Oh, about the labels. I don't like being labels. I like being a human first. I think that's what.
Yes, labels, 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 labels. This is one thing that I don't know who I'm listening to so many different people now that are really deep into and labels. Once we put a label on anything, we we really own that, and that's what leaves us stuck. Try not to fall under a label for as long as you can. I think that's the biggest key. Or always check those labels, or have a. I mean, even here, this kind of ties to a quote that I had here that I was reading. Les Brown: "Surround yourself with coaches and mentors who can take you a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself because you can't see the label that's outside of the box when you're inside of the box." And I think we all get stuck inside that box, but we don't really know
Mhm.
what those gifts, what those not labels that we're putting on ourselves really are until we surround ourselves with the people who bring those out for us.
Yeah, we always need a lesson or a teacher, right? Like you have all these music instruments behind me. I would love to say that I just woke up one day and I became really good at it, but no, it took those weeks, those days of practice, those everything, right? So it's just really important to understand that. So I think that's amazing to kind of think about. So DJ, if you could live anywhere, and this is like I
Yes,
said, this is
sir.
for the audience. We want some interaction. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Hmm. Um. Honestly, I'm I've traveled throughout the states. I've only been out of the states besides Canada one other time internationally, so I haven't really been to many places. But again, I probably give the worst questions or the worst answers for these questions. I'm so sorry. But honestly, where I am now, I'm happy. Virginia Beach is. I literally just shared this with Maggie. It's kind of she. It's been a great change. It's kind of like, again, not to go too deep, and I'm always going so deep with
No, go
stuff,
deep,
but
go deep, go deep. This
um,
is what we're gonna. If you want to go deep, come on the Logistics Monk show. No, sorry,
yeah,
I'll plug that. But no,
yes.
let's get into it.
But okay, so John Hewitt, since being here, I mean, it's been just an amazing journey, and again, it's the coincidences that we were talking about, and I don't believe there is any coincidences, like you said to your wife, even. I mean, it's the universe. And but so he had recommended a book, The Shack, and The Shack is mind blowing, amazing. Um, but like I told Maggie, it's so Sarah Yu, who is part of in the book, it gives Mac in the book an opportunity to see the world the way they see it, and it's just colors, and it's just magic. It's just unbelievable. And I think when we find that right place, that's what it seems like, and that's, at least for me in the moment here, that's exactly where I am. It's crazy. But it's amazing.
I love that, and let's unpeel that a little bit. So for people who don't know, DJ lived in Ohio, and he moved out to Virginia Beach to basically pursue. I don't want to say a goal, but a purpose. Let's call it a purpose, because I definitely that's what it believes. Knowing you for how long I've known you, you're definitely a family person. You and Maggie and your kids and all that stuff. Family's number one. That's your core. How did it make you feel from that
Yes, sir.
unknown, moving away from being away from the family, being such a big family person?
Ooh, now you're going deep. I like it. You're going real deep. Tough. It's been. I'll tell you. Being married younger and then divorced, and so being at different stages and seasons in life, I didn't really understand certain things, and I think that's where we get lost. Is this journey in this game of life is literally like I share on our thing. I mean, it's you versus you. It's me versus me. It's Ryan versus Ryan. And the people we surround ourselves with help us find the true purpose, like you said, the true reason. And yeah, I've been away from her at different times, from Maggie. I mean, we've been together 14 years, 15 years now, and almost 15 years. But it's this time it was different. It was different. Um, it was deeper. It was harder. It's been a lot harder. But at the same time, having the surrounding that I have and the new kind of people, I think that really that's what's been the blessing or made it easier. So I mean, I can't. I mean, I stress about networking. I stress about people you have around you, because it's really your life preserver when you're out there in, again, stealing kind of from the movie The Shack. Shout out, there is a movie about the Shack as well, but there's a scene in the movie where he's in a boat and Jesus is standing on the water and the boat is sinking, but it's in Mac's mind, and Jesus says, "Just look at me, don't look at the boat." And I think we get stuck looking at the problem too much, and we don't look for why, or what is that higher purpose that is making us kind of. Ed Milet, you shared that show just recently about going through pain, and pain is temporary, but
Yeah,
pain is what helps us grow. Suffering is the option. Suffering is optional, and man, that is exactly the truth. I mean, that's life in a nutshell. If you feel pain, you've been doing the same thing, you're probably in that
loop.
stuck position. You're in that
Yeah.
comfort position, that comfort zone, and something inside you is telling you need something else. That was my biggest issue for the longest time. And then once you find that, though, it's unbelievable.
It's like finding the keys, right? It's the story. We'll talk about it eventually one day, but it's
Yes,
basically
yes,
summary. Like
yeah, the
Wayne
keys.
Dyer's did a story about like four philanthropists. There were some prisoners locked up, and like three of the philanthropists gave like different things like food, shelter, all that stuff to while these guys were in prison. But then the fourth one literally just got the keys. And he opened it,
It's
and it was just like we always have that choice, right? And you mentioned that it was completely brand new for you and Maggie. It's deeper and everything like that.
mhm.
What advice have you learned along the journey? Because like you're nowhere near finished your story. This chap like this is a chapter in your book. What advice would you have somebody like wanting to do that? Like I'm gonna be away from my family. I'm gonna be away from things that hey, if I go to the bar every Tuesday down the street, that's not gonna be there anymore. You get out of your comfort zone, and is it kind of like a season of no? Like Alex Hormozy kind of talks about. But what advice would you have somebody kind of like I'm gonna go into the unknown and kind of embrace it?
I love that you said seasons. I think once we can realize that life is, and this game of life, again, I call it a game because I really do feel like life is a game. If you can turn it that way, it's a lot more fun, at least. Um, but there are seasons, and we're always going to have. There's four seasons. There's, Tony Robbins talks a lot about that, and there's the winter. And it's going to be hard. You got to buckle down. You got to get ready for it. And then there's the spring and the summer. It always comes. But I would say the biggest key I would tell anybody going through, if they feel that uncomfort, they feel that stuck position, they feel like there's something screaming inside them, they want more, but they feel like they're stuck. They have to either one, they have to first check themselves and say, okay, am I all in or am I just in the middle? And Ed talks about that too. But I think that's where a lot of people fall. They stay in the middle, and people get hurt in the middle. You're either all in or you're all out.
Yeah,
Nothing good happens in the middle.
yeah.
And so that was the big thing for us was prior to, I've taken tons of risk and tons of chances. I shared a lot of them on Sales Chatter. I mean, shoot, people have been watching me thinking I've probably taken a bunch of crazy risk and chances now. But I uh, I think what it comes down to is you just have to be very clear to your partner and realize that you're a team. Um, you need teams all around you, from your family to your partner. I mean, the way me and Maggie, and it's, I don't know if she's even loves that we do this, but the way we even treat our family as a team. I mean, we both played sports, so I feel like it's the easiest. And so I'm a coach, she's a coach. How do coaches talk to each other? Nobody rules. I'm not the head coach. She's not. We're both coaches.
Coordinators,
And so
offensive,
and so yeah,
defensive.
so
Yeah.
we need to talk together to make sure the team's on the right plan. But we also have to be all in together with our plan. And that was we I never really took that approach until recently, but I think it was wisdom, age, and a lot of growing up. But I think you just really have to be fully transparent and be all in or all out. But
All
don't.
in all, I understand that. And that's the one thing that I actually want to shout out Lisa, who's watching this morning, because I saw a comment on LinkedIn. It was just kind of like something that she commented on. But everybody doesn't know Lisa took a trip to the unknown with Cirilla Drinks this year. By the way, Sales Chatter is the promo code for the Drink Cirilla. We'll get discount code.
Yes.
But one of the coolest things that I saw, DJ, was that I think it was Charlie Safro who we had on the show. She's going into something like that. She's going to like a retreat or meeting brand new people that she's never met before and talking about comfort zones. And I saw the little discussion that they had, and it was basically Lisa was like, "I'm such a big fan. Like, this is what I did with Thing." And then Charlie kind of replied and said, "You're my inspiration. You're the reason, one of the reasons why I'm doing this." And it was just kind of cool to see that kind of like cheerleader
Wow.
moments of
I
like being
love
each other's
that.
biggest fans. So the point I'm trying to make is that you just never know who you're inspiring, or what you're
Yes.
inspiring. So that's why I'm always about positivity and talking. You'll always see this big smile on his face because, hey, if I can say one thing, like Kat is like my homie. I talk to Kat all the time, like just for making sure that she's going down through her path. And even though there might be like a crossroads, whatever path she takes is going to be the right path for her, right? So it's amazing to kind of see that. So kudos to you and Maggie for understanding that you both are coordinators of this game of life, and you guys are doing this together because defense doesn't win championships, offense doesn't win championships. You got to both be in sync.
Yes, I agree. And shout out to Maggie. I agree. Seeing Lisa in that. Yeah, I mean, Lisa's been the support for this from the beginning, for Sales Chatter, for such a big support for me. So I can't thank her enough. But yeah, seeing her in that moment, that was huge, and I love that. I love that Charlie is now taking that on, and even gave Lisa the props she deserved. Yeah, that is a big it's a big thing. It's a big
It
journey.
is. Definitely is a big journey. So I'm gonna ask you another I'm enjoying this, and if anybody is enjoying this
Yeah,
conversation, I feel like I'm plugging this whole time, but hey, let's do it. It's our show.
yeah.
But if you're enjoying this conversation with DJ and I, DJ is actually was on my show on the Logistics Monk show that I do every Monday. He was my second episode. I'll just put this if you want to subscribe and check it out. We actually go into deeper questions and know about
Don't
DJ.
miss
So
it.
yeah, it was awesome. So if you click that QR code, it'll take you to my channel. Take a look at it. It was honestly one of my favorite episodes. And every Monday we launch at 5 p.m. But anyways, coming back to it, my friend. Um, what let's and take some if you got to think about it a little bit, take some time, a little bit of silence. You don't have to feed it right away. But DJ
Yeah,
and everybody in the audience, what are you not good at all?
like not good at like
Just not good at it. Yeah, whatever it is. Just and it could
ice
be anything.
skating.
Ice
Ice
skating.
skating. I guess this Mexican Italian wasn't made to ice skate. No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I fell on my butt one time, broke my tailbone, and that was it. Game over. Gave it up forever.
How old were you when that happened?
High school. It was
Oh, high school. Okay.
high school age. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how life kind of happens. So the story that I relate skating to is swimming. So my we were never trained to swim, my sister and I. But then my sister went to a pool party, I think in grade 3 or grade 4, and unfortunately she drowned. And the lifeguard was there, like nothing happened to her, right? But you
Oh
can imagine
wow.
as a parent, like oh my god, like my parents obviously weren't there, right? And you look at that cause and effect. So right after there, my parents enrolled us into swimming classes, and then we went to the level before becoming a lifeguard. And we just did that, and same thing with the ice skating. Not that my sister like tripped or anything like that, but my mom always used to like in Canada, DJ, we would always have field trips to our local skating rink because it was literally across the street from us. So they would take us like quite a bit of time, like even during the summer and the winter and all that stuff. And my mom would be the chaperone. I shout out to the parents who are chaperone on their kids' field trips because as a kid, it's the best to have unlimited money. Like I don't care what anybody says. You go to the zoo, you go to the science center, and you're like, sometimes my parents would give me like 20, 30 bucks. That was a lot of money back in the day, but it's just like when your parents are there, you're like, yeah, I could get the popcorn with butter this time. I don't have to worry about the small. But anyways, coming back to it, my
That's
parents
so
let us,
funny. I love
you
it.
know. Have you ever chaperoned with it? You or Maggie chaperoned with your kids on their field trips?
So Maggie thankfully gets the opportunity to do that, and I love when she does that. There hasn't been any field trips yet, but at least for Coop. But yeah, for the things at work, she definitely, or at school, she definitely gets to do that, and that's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's amazing to kind of see, like, just being, and that's one thing I love with well, let's talk about that a little bit. Like, how was your childhood? Because my childhood, I loved it because my dad's young. So I think there's a big correlation there. Like,
Mm.
my dad was like 21 when he had me, and he was like 23 when like, my sister's 2 years younger than me. So my dad was a young guy. Like, he still is a young, like, I think he turned like 55 or something like that, like last year. And I'm like, you're 55 and you like got grown ass kids. But I loved that because like we saw our parents. Obviously, they were authority figures when they needed to, but we never kind of strayed down the wrong path because we had two things. We had our parents guiding us, and they were never big on like, oh, you got to do school, and they never blazed our path for us. We kind of figured that out on our own. They were there to help us, and then two, faith was a big thing in our family. So like we're of the Hindu faith, and we went to temple every Sunday. We are always doing community events, and for me, DJ, it was big. Being around people like my color, my age, listening to the same music, listening to the same, eating the same food, rather than like now it's different, DJ. Like back in the day, I used to get made fun of for bringing like roti and like curry to school. It's like, who's that smelly kid? And like now everyone's like, oh, that turmeric lattes, like coconut oil. Oh man, I just wish it was like. But tell everybody in the audience, like myself as well, like what was your childhood? What did your childhood look like,
So,
and how does that
so,
represent your kids?
yeah, so we share very similar. So I was blessed to, and again, this is what we have to remember. Every single thing, and we go to that. I was blessed, but it's also a curse. Everything could be a blessing and a curse. There's always a good and a bad, really, to everything. So when you're going through really bad stuff, find the good, because there is something good too. But so my childhood, again, I was blessed too. My parents were young. And that's what inspired me to kind of, I guess, go on this crazy journey of life that I've been on. But um, having parents young and going to private school, that was probably the greatest separator. But like, I thank my parents now all the time, and shout out if my mom does happen to catch this or is watching this. But um, they doing that, like I said, is kind of what was gave me that peek behind the curtain. Like, hey, there's a different world. Even though, like, you're over here in this world, younger parents, obviously. I mean, my dad was 18, my mom was 20 when they had me. So I mean, my dad's only 18. So again, and any parents out there, younger parents going through it now, especially, I can tell you through my journey of now raising 5 kids. Um, and basically raising kids for more than 21 years, is you are raising kids while you're raising yourself. So be
Yes.
easy on them, because you're still learning yourself. Like, clearly thinking back to what I was going through and what I was seeing, as a 20-year-old raising kids, just like how my parents were, is totally different than how I see the world, or things are now. So I can only imagine that that's most people, that go through that. And so there's a lot of things that I do look back on, and I'm like, man, I was so bad as a dad in my 20s because of this. I was so bad as a father because of this. But again, those are those moments that we have to give ourselves grace. Again, we have to forgive ourselves, because we are just learning. I think life and the environment has created us to believe that there is a certain checkpoint or age.
Yeah.
At 20, you have to get married. At 25, you have to go to school. At this, you have to. There is none. I mean, Ed Milet. We've talked about him enough. I'll bring him up again. Ed Milet and Rob Dyrdek are on the mission of trying to. I think Ed's goal is to live to 127. And for you people out there who think that's impossible, it's not.
Yeah.
It's somebody said it in Cat. Shout out Cat. She said, remaining calm. Yes. Stress and fear, which we're all engulfed in right now. Every single one of us, no matter where you live in the world, if you're in the States, if you're in Canada, wherever you're at, we're surrounded by it. Uh, Dr. Bruce Lipton says, genes, there is no gene that has cancer in it. Cancer, along with many other diseases, are caused by stress.
Yeah.
Stress is the biggest factor. And so if we can remain calm but we have to, one, we feel like we're blaming other people. But what I realized was going through this journey of kids, 2 different levels, is it was me. Like, I'm always beating myself up, even if I'm outwardly was beating somebody else up. Like, I'm calling out for my problems. And that's what I think we all have to realize. Like, if we start getting frustrated at something outwardly, it's because it's frustrating us inwardly.
Yeah.
We have to go inward to find that. That's the only way we could fix it.
And I love that you said that, because when the one thing, the big takeaway from what you just said, DJ, is that be kind to yourself being a parent, because like you're trying to figure things out, and then they're like, kids will never see that, right? But to them, like, they'll always be your superheroes. And then as I get older, I think about that a lot. Like, my parents, they definitely made sacrifices, and they were figuring things out. Like, let's call a spade, man. If they didn't know what fractions and all this nonsense he did in school, but they tried their best to understand what it was,
Yes.
so that they can help us with our homework. Like, there's so many times that, like, my dad, he's a very street sense, he's very good with his hands, and he was able to kind of help me, guide me through like my science class projects, and I've learned that along the way. And I think the one thing that we always, and I'll ask this as the final questions that we're going to wrap up here, what is one trait, and I'll ask this to the audience as well, what is one trait that you got from your dad, and what is one trait that you got from your mom? And I'll let you go with that one.
I love that. So and again, shout out to parents. Like, parents, don't beat yourself up. Like, holy cow. Like, I will tell you, I heard this in, I think it's Wall Street money never sleeps. I think that's where the quote came from. But he says, parents are the bone that kids sharpen their teeth on.
Oh,
And and
well, I love that.
there's so much power to that, but it's when you realize that that's our greatest mission of this life is really we all have a, if we're being honest, we're all, I mean, we're all human. We all, whatever religion, idea, universe, God, whatever we believe in, we all, in the end, the ones who have the faith to believe in a higher power believe we came from the same. And so if we're all the same, then we're just constantly living a cycle. And I believe our life and our journey here is just to try to make and break the generational curses that run
Mm.
in our bloodline. There's struggles that are going to run there, but uh, to the strengths that I got from, and the best traits, because I got so many from my parents. I mean, they all came from my parents.
Yep.
Everything we have comes from the people we grew up around. I mean, it's a programming in the end. But um, my greatest strength from my dad is the belief that I was meant for something bigger. He always had that feeling. He always portrayed that through, and so he was never ever willing to give up, or was always willing to take the next risk. And I'm so grateful for that, because I don't think I'd be here in Virginia Beach right now if it wasn't for that. I think I'd maybe be a district manager at, or however long 20 years of in the corporate world would get me to, maybe I'm a store manager by that time of Best Buy. But um, I think I would have been there. And then my mom is listening. My mom is probably the greatest listener there is. She has people who will. I mean, my friends talk. My best friend probably. He calls my mom mom. Uh,
Ah,
he probably has deeper, crazier. She probably knows things I don't know um, about him. But that's what my mom's always been for everybody. And I didn't really realize that
yeah, you don't
until
realize that, yeah.
until going through it, until growing. I mean, you got to learn and grow. I say it all the time in my post, but we're either learning and growing, or we're dying. That's it. I mean, if you believe science at all, I mean, Dr. Bruce talks about it. We're just a bunch of uh, micros, whatever you want to, whatever the science term is, but we're thousands of them that are constantly growing and dying. Growing and dying.
It's just as simple as that. And I love that you said that, like, I think the biggest thing to take away from me when we come back to parents is that I've realized that I had like, and everyone's gonna say this, right? But I've had like truly the best parents in the world, because when I talk to other people, growing up and like talking about my childhood and stuff like that, like it's completely night and day. Like my parents were about us, and they were just they wanted us to succeed. My mom was like one of the most compassionate people I've ever met in my life, and it's just a summary of like what you kind of want to do. So, with that being said, and I think you do good things, things will happen, right? Like everybody knows that, hey, Dan was going to be on the show with me this morning. He messaged me and he's got to take his dogs out to a vetted appointment. And then I reached out to DJ right away, and within like 2 minutes, he was like, yeah, let's do this, man. Let's make this happen. So I can't thank you enough for always being there. And it's just a testament to do good, and good will come back to you. Keep growing, and you don't necessarily need. And when you're talking about growing or dying, it's just not like about like monetary, right? You don't always, or like new business
No,
or anything like that. Just learn one new thing every day. Like I've got like one of those calendar, daily calendar things. I flip it. It's a quote from "On F Yourself," from, I think it's from John Bishop, one of my favorite books. But with that being said, DJ, can't thank you enough. Can't thank the audience enough for being here with us on this journey on this amazing week. Tell us what you got planned. I know some, like we said, you got something next week that's going on. Let's plug that bad boy and let's head it home.
yeah. Well, thank you again, dude, for having me, and for just being as true and as genuine as you are. So proud of you for doing the Logistics Monk Show. It's amazing. I think it's going to catch fire. So just keep in you. So next week we are launching the Robin Hood Capitalist show. So around 2 o'clock, I do have a post coming out to kind of highlight that. It will be Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll stream it live on LinkedIn, YouTube,
What time?
Facebook. So we are going to play with times in the beginning. So
So make sure you
for
don't do that
this,
at 11 o'clock, right? Just put it
no,
out there.
we will not. We will not interfere with our crew for sure. But no, yeah, would never do that. No, we. So right now we're testing. We're trying to figure out the right timing for obviously our target audience. So anybody listening to this right now or catches this later, who we're looking for are those in the tech world who just recently got laid off and don't want to work for somebody else and maybe thinking of venturing out to do their own thing. Franchising is a great choice. You don't have to create a system, and in the right system or franchise network, you're in business for yourself. You're just not by yourself, and very similar to the logistics world. So, but so Tuesday, yeah. So we're trying to figure out the right time. So Tuesday we will be 2 o'clock this week, and then Thursday we will be in the morning, probably
Nice.
8 or 9 o'clock, and then we're really just gonna kind of play with the times here and there to see when we really get the most eyes available to see and
Yeah, so definitely
get the
follow
word out.
along on DJ's page and all that stuff, and you'll be able to see the dates and links. And we'll definitely share it on this show too, because we got to support each other. Just because I want to get rid of that misconception of like just because we have shows doesn't mean that we can't all be friends and support one another. So that's
That's
one of the coolest
right.
things. So. With that being said, actually next Tuesday, your boy is going to be on Dad IQ Live, 10 a.m. With
Yeah.
I know, right? With Ken Adamo and Dean Croak from DAT, who's always here on Wednesdays. But I'll be on their show. Hopefully, talk some shop, have some fun with those guys. And if you found value in this, which I know you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Our DMs are always open. Reach out to us. Let's have a chat, and we'll hit the replay back at 2 and 6 p.m. We'll hit on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. DJ, take us home, my man.
All right. Hey, listen, y'all. This is so. I'm gonna hit you with a quote that I think is gonna be the quote for the rest of my year this year, and it's self trust is the first key to success. Uh, that's it. Self trust, guys.
Self-trust. All right. Well, everybody be safe, have fun, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Take care.
Feed the good wolf, y'all.